Right now we have 41 degrees. The time is 10:07. I'm Sobe Bay, KTRS News, the talk of St. Louis.
And now, the Frank and Jill Show. It's Frank Cusimano, Jill Farmer on the Big 550 KTRS, the talk of St. Louis. Powered by STL Medical Weight Loss. See the Dr. Joe difference at stlmedweightloss.com.
Good morning and welcome. This is the Frank and Jill Show on the Big 550 KTRS. Frank Cusimano, Jill Farmer, Connor McCarthy here till 12. Got a good one today. Sarah Fensky, executive editor of St. Louis Magazine. Back to the feature. Jerry Maguire is the movie. Tariq Khan is the reviewer. He'll be joining us at 11 o'clock. And then at about 10:50, we'll talk a little weather, which is what many people are talking about, with Gary Frank from KSDK. So we're excited about that. All right. By the way, he just mentioned this player, Carlos Beltran, going into the Hall of Fame. He had a cup of coffee here 2 years. And Jill, every time I interviewed him, he would wait till he was fully dressed in this beautiful outfit. And it got me to, Michael Jordan did that too. He never did a post-game interview like in a T-shirt. He always had this magnificent suit on. Do you remember Mike Shanahan?
Sure.
Chairman of the board and really successful guy who owned the Blues. He was cutting the grass. It's Saturday morning. It's 10 a.m. He's in a T-shirt, and his wife calls, "Hey, they're having the baby." And he runs inside, goes upstairs. She's like, "What are you doing? We're going to the hospital." He puts on a full suit, takes a shower, shaves. She goes, "You're going to see a baby that's been alive for 3 hours." And he says, "You don't get a second chance to make a first impression." Wanted to look like $1 million for his grandchild. I think that's kind of cool.
Yeah, except I'm sure his wife was like, "This is the one time when you can make that exception," because I can't imagine anybody wanting to be separated, any grandmother wanting to be separated for even a second from that potential new grandchild and getting to meet him for the first time.
Greg Willard is a little bit like that. Have you ever seen Greg not always dressed beautifully with a little pocket hanky and everything? There's some people out there that just never have off days.
Yeah, because, I mean, obviously, on the days when he's not teaching at St. Louis University in his con law class and he and isn't in the law firm every single day, you'd think he'd swing by the radio station even in maybe a sweater or something like that. But you're exactly right. He's always got the suit on.
Yeah, that's probably an age thing, too. I think the older generation, God bless them for doing it, they just had this sense of decorum and professionalism at all times.
Yeah, when law firms started going more casual, business casual, I don't know, 15, 20 years ago, and then easing in, John has said since day one, he just wished they would have stayed with the old suit and tie formula, because he found it very confusing to try to, figure out, you got to match a jacket and different color pants. And I always said, he would have been a good candidate when he was growing up for Garanimals, where you just matched the animal to each piece of your outfit and you knew they'd matched.
Mike Bush, even when he's at his desk, keeps his tie up to the top and his sport coat on at all times.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just like crazy. I don't put mine on till 4:59 on a 5 o'clock show, and then I take it off at 6:31.
I've seen pictures of him on social media too, where people, and it's clearly on one of his off days, but he's shooting one of the special features that he does, one of the stories he does. And again, sometimes it's in a pretty casual setting, but he's always in that three-piece suit.
It's crazy. I mean, God bless him for doing it.
Well, I mean, you're not trying to be sloppy most of the time, but I think in sports you have more of a sporty dress up kind of look.
And I was on 7 different shoots yesterday that I'll explain a little bit in the opening dialogue. There's no way I'm going to be in a coat and tie, and you got to be comfortable.
Well, and I think about on these really cold weather days back when I did Contact 2. I would be out all day shooting, but it was no problem because we'd get behind the anchor desk and I could have, warm jeans on or corduroys and my warm winter boots, but, a jacket and a blouse on top. And so I still looked, quote, news presenter ready. But now a lot of the news sets on almost every station, you got full body shots.
Right. Sometimes even shoes.
Yeah,
which is not a good thing for Scott Connell, who likes to wear his Nikes.
Yes, although my friend Glenn Zimmerman has made that his thing since day one, because they go out into the weather center there outside, and he's always worn sneakers with his suit and looks kind of hip, if you ask me.
Well, that's a good question on the text line because some people agree with you. ESPN, all those guys wear straight tennis shoes. I think you can wear the casual shoe. You can wear the dress shoe with the casual bottom of the shoe. The straight out tennis shoe with the suit, I'm not digging it, but to each his own.
Really? You would never do it?
Like, no, I would never wear white Nike tennis shoes with a suit.
Well, there's a style. I mean, I think you have to match the style, right? There's a certain style of almost slightly more of a court shoe style. I don't think you can wear a running shoe with a suit, but I think it's hip to wear a certain kind of what would be considered more of a sneaker or
if
a
you believe
trainer.
that,
Yeah. But you're just saying in all instances.
Straight tennis shoe, no. But I am a huge fan of those casual shoes with the white bottom that really makes life comfortable.
But what if it's like the coolest guy you know and they're a really good athlete and you see him with that sneaker or tennis shoe on with a suit? Does it even a little bit of you going, maybe I would check this out?
When Pat Riley starts doing it or Michael Jordan, okay, I'll do it.
Okay, so really, really young, hip guys is who you're looking for.
No, I'm not. I'm not going to get my style from a guy that just graduated from college.
Okay, got it.
All right, let's take a short time out. When we come back, we're going to have the opening dialogue. This is the Frank and Jill Show on the Big 550 KTRS.
Some of my fondest memories as a kid is heading down to the hardware store. You had to pick up a couple of nails, a couple of screws, maybe a gallon of paint, whatever it may be, right? It was your friendly neighborhood hardware store. Well, those don't exist anymore in St. Louis, except for Schnarr's Hardware. They have 2 locations in Webster Groves and in Clayton Road in Ladue. Schnarr's Hardware is that place where you go in and you can get that bucket of paint, you can get a couple of screws. The advice is always free. And the one thing about Schnarr's Hardware that every single family hardware store used to have, and that is the smell. It smells like a hardware store. It's got the selection. I don't know how they do it. It's a small store, but they got everything you ever need. They got the paint. They got paint matching. They've got big green eggs. They've got screws and nails and everything a hardware store should have. Schnarr's Hardware, 2 locations, 1 great hardware store. Schnarr's Hardware, we'll see you there.
St. Louis Ambush Indoor Soccer is back this Saturday afternoon at the Family Arena to take on the Milwaukee Wave at 4:05 p.m. And it's multicultural night. Make your plans to get there early and get an Ambush rally towel presented by Greenleaf Procurement. Plus, there will be a youth soccer clinic before the game. Go to stlambush.com to register. That's this Saturday, St. Louis versus Milwaukee at 4:05 p.m. Tickets available at the Family Arena box office or at Ticketmaster.com. For more information, go to stlambush.com.
Meet me at the Muni in Forest Park.
Muni season tickets for 2026 are on sale now, starting at just $126. It's the best way to save on our 7-show package, featuring Hairspray, Shrek the Musical, South Pacific, Disney's Newsies, Ain't Too Proud, The Life and Times of the Temptations, Meet Me in St. Louis, and Something Rotten. Choose your seats now at muni.org.
I'm Mark Miller, owner of Miller Furniture and Mattress, your home for quality American-made furniture since 1927. We offer the largest selection of Amish-made furniture in the St. Louis area, plus quality living room furniture from Flex Steel and Smith Brothers. We carry top-quality mattresses from world-famous brands like Tempur-Pedic, Stearns & Foster, and Chatham & Wells. Shop our Belleville, Fairview Heights, Lake St. Louis, and Ellisville showrooms. At Miller Furniture, we put the family in furniture.
At Maryville University, we power dreams, not just degrees. For nearly 150 years, we've empowered graduates to build successful careers. At Maryville, expect a rigorous, technology-driven, mentor-inspired education in a diverse and inclusive learning environment. We help you take it to the next level, no matter what field you choose. Now is the time to turn your ambition into action and transform your dream into reality. Start your journey at maryville.edu.
Rediscover the timeless classic of The Wizard of Oz as your St. Louis Symphony Orchestra performs the iconic score live with the 1939 film on the big screen. Join Dorothy and her friends as she follows the yellow brick road to Oz and faces the Wicked Witch of the West. Don't miss this truly Technicolor event, January 30th through February 1st at Powell Hall at the Jack C. Taylor Music Center. Tickets at slso.org.
Stay connected with the Big 550 KTRS, streaming 24/7 online at KTRS.com or on the KTRS app. Powered by JBL Financial. Stream Straight Talk on Retirement every Saturday morning from 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. And now the opening dialogue with Frank and Jill on the Big 550 KTRS. Powered by Worldwide Technology Raceway.
All right, thought one. Now, this could be a regular talking point once a week. I think it's going to explode on the text lines. Royal Banks of Missouri, 84126. Your pet peeves in life today, everyday life. How about the people who just want to back into every parking spot, even if there are cars waiting behind them?
Mm-hmm.
Just so when you back in, you can get out a half second quicker. Give me a freaking break. How about Walmart now wanting you to have to pay extra for a year membership of Walmart Plus for the right to use their self-checkout lines? Sounds like a Stan Kroenke idea. How about when you hold the door for someone, they either don't say thanks or just walk in and don't grab the door in front for you? How many hours a day in this country are wasted on meetings? Send it an email. You don't have to have meetings about everything. I'm a big anti-meeting guy. The phone popping out at the movie theater, the loud chewing at a restaurant, not returning shopping carts, which really gets me, like at some of our great places like Costco and Sam's. People on a speakerphone in public. So what are your pet peeves today? But the one that really got me yesterday is, I got to back my car in. I think I'm really cool. 84126 while you hold up everybody as they're trying to park.
Heidi Glass is a big back into the spot.
Is she? Okay.
Yeah.
I back in every morning, but
here you don't have any.
But if somebody's behind me, I just pull in and then I wait until they're gone and then I pull back out and do it when nobody else is around. I guess the difference is I would never make somebody else wait for me to back in.
Yeah.
But I still think it's better. It's much better to back into a spot. When you're leaving,
you just save all the time you save.
Well, I have to.
Because you got to get out of here right away.
I have to back in because I have to plug my car in here.
You charge the car. Okay.
I charge the car.
There
So
that's the electric car owners. Okay.
Yes. So
all right, we give you an exemption.
Thank you. I do appreciate that exemption. All the other ones I agree with 100%. Even it used to just. I'm over it now but I remember when we first joined Sam's Club and Costco, it was like the fact that I paid them a decent, hefty fee for the privilege of shopping at their place.
Yeah.
I don't know why. That just always kind of got stuck in my craw a bit about that.
All right.
I think it's a great question, though. I think we're going to get a lot of good answers on the Royal Banks of Missouri text line. I have a new pet peeve that I just heard about fairly recently. It's called surveillance pricing. Do you guys know about this? Here's how it works. When you see a price of something online, anytime you're shopping online, someone else may not see the price for the exact same item. It can be the same brand, the same size. The reason, because online retailers may be tracking you. So for instance, if you get on and shop for some nice shirts like Mizzen and Main, when you go shop at another store and buy shirts, they know this guy has high class. If he's comparing and contrasting the prices of what he's used to paying for shirts with what we have here, we can charge him a higher price than we charge somebody else. Retailers use data, whether you're logged in, your shopping habits, even how loyal you seem, to quickly test and quietly what you're willing to pay. Quick example, a consumer tester recently did this. They signed in on Walmart to their membership, to your point, and they bought a tube of toothpaste. When they signed in, the price was $3.96. When they were not signed in, $3.74. So the fact that they knew they were a loyal customer, they thought we can charge you. Not huge money, but it's kind of the point. Small enough, most of us won't notice. A few dollars here, a few cents there. Multiply that, though, across dozens of purchases. That adds up. Consumer experts say it's legal, not very transparent, though. And it makes bargain hunting a lot trickier because when the best price you're looking for depends on the website or who the website thinks you are. This started, of course, back when we had surge pricing surge pricing with Uber, and they were among the first to be like, the price is one thing one day and completely different the next day. John and I have both accidentally called an Uber from the same place, and ending up at the same hotel, for instance, where we're standing next to each other,
Okay.
and we've been given different prices in that situation as well.
Wow.
It really is it just drives me nuts. The old consumer reporter in me just feels like you should have a price. If you're selling stuff, you should stick to the price, and then
Yeah.
we should pay it. But it's been around forever. I mean, in the car business, there's never been such thing as an actual sticker price. It's always been
Exactly.
based on what somebody would pay. So I guess this is just the online version of that. But I don't know what it is, but surveillance pricing, I mean, it makes me feel like I'm getting ripped off, even though I know it is perfectly legal. But there's just something about it that annoys me.
I like that. That's good. All right. Thought two. Have a recommendation. So I'm on the treadmill on a cold day, and the only way I can stay on top of that tedious and painful piece of machinery is to have my attention diverted by a great show. I think we all know the feeling, right? So it was a documentary about a man who was once in a movie with Billy Crystal, who once was in a $6 Million Man episode, who once appeared on Letterman, and who at one time was one of the most recognizable figures on the planet Earth. He also happened to be 7'4" or 5" and 500 pounds. His name, Andre the Giant. The doc on him on HBO is incredible. I set an all-time record for most time spent for me on a treadmill because I couldn't turn it off. The drinking alone is legendary. This is every night, Jill. 25 beers, 4 bottles of wine, and some mixed drinks. Every night. Ric Flair, and he actually said this to me on camera once when he came to St. Louis, but he said in the doc, I saw him drink 106 beers before my very eyes. Women, some of them, were fascinated by Andre the Giant. When he lifted his left leg to pass gas, people knew to flee quickly. If he did it on a private plane, Hulk Hogan says you could not breathe. Remember, Muhammad Ali could hide with a hat and glasses for, probably short stretches. You can't hide 7'5" and 500 pounds. But here's the sad part. And Hulk Hogan told us that when he'd walk behind him at airports, people laughed and giggled at him. And because of the sport he played, wrestling, his life was spent in physical pain. And he spent hours and hours, like when he'd fly to Tokyo and he'd be on a plane for like 12 hours. No plane could ever fit him. He was an orthopedic nightmare and had a lot of sadness. But I promise, if you turn it on, you won't turn it off till it's over. Andre the Giant on HBO.
So you learned a lot of new stuff that you did not know
Oh,
about
yeah.
him. How did anybody ever beat him in wrestling?
Well, when it was time for a new script, they wanted Hulk Hogan to beat him in WrestleMania 3 in Detroit with 93,000 watching.
It wasn't real, Jill.
None of it was real.
No.
Okay. Okay. Well, I was like,
Yeah.
So people that would pretend to beat him, but in real life, they really
I don't think they
could not.
Yeah. It's like weight class. You got to be in your own weight class at his size.
Okay, so a couple of pet peeves here. We got a good ones coming in. A litter. Why aren't people actually throwing things away? Why are they just littering? When people don't.
Wasn't that a thing of yours, or was that Wendy? But I had no idea that people.
Well, I
on
stole it
highways-
from, Charlie Brennan brought it to my attention. Then once we started
That's
paying
right,
attention, I could
Charlie.
not stop seeing it. And then it got a little better as we were mowing, and now it's getting bad again. I just noticed it the other
on
day.
your lawn yourself?
No,
Or just highways?
on highways around town. I mean, yes, every day when I walk the dog, I pick up trash around my neighborhood too because people throw it out of their cars, which I think is terrible. But it's especially noticeable along roadways in the St. Louis region, and it's not a good look. Many people saying. Somebody calling you a Karen and saying, yes, you should back into a site. Did you see what Howard Richard just texted us?
Yes.
I back in 99% of the time. It's a security thing, Frank, and you should be encouraging Monique and Brooke to do the same thing.
The CIA guy giving me advice. I guess I can't.
I was going to say, are you
dissuade
dismissing that?
Yeah. How about when somebody answers the question, that's a very good question, very overused. But as I've said before, sometimes when people say that, they're just buying time to come up with an answer. They really don't think it's a good question. They just can't come up with an answer right away.
Sure. Even when
Like most of your questions.
When I did, exactly. Not a good question. It's such a bad question, I can't come up with an answer because there's no answer for it. Hey, by the way, I got to go to a really special night on Friday night. And I forgot to mention it yesterday. We had a Fox 2 reunion of sorts. A couple dozen people I used to work with in television, all from an era going back now 30 plus years. I really didn't realize how much I wanted to see those people until we were there. Something, I think, I was trying to figure out, why was it just so fun and meaningful? There's just something, I think, uniquely powerful about the people you work with in maybe your first or second jobs when you're in your 20s or 30s for many of us. Work isn't just work yet. It's, I think, part of our identity at that stage of life for sure, maybe even more than it is for us now. You're figuring out who you are, who you want to be, how you want to be a grown-up in the world. And it's often a season where people are getting married, earning a real paycheck for the first time, buying a house, starting families. So you're walking through a lot of these life transitions together, just trying to look at it like we're doing it together. So as we sat together and stood together 30 years later, laughing about old stories, filling in gaps, hearing about the careers and the kids and the losses and reinventions from all these people that I worked with when I first came to St. Louis, starting back in 1993 for more than a decade while I was at Fox 2, it was just a real bond. The people who knew you while you were becoming, they always matter. And I just really had a good time connecting with people. Paul Shankman was there. I hadn't seen him for a long time. Did you ever have a chance to rub elbows with Paul through the years?
Just in passing, but always seemed like a really
brilliant,
nice fella.
But not. He's brilliant. He really is.
Really
but,
good writer.
And a fabulous writer, probably the best broadcast writer in probably the country and certainly in St. Louis for sure, but also very unassuming, just down to earth, always talked about being a, St. Louis guy growing up in the county. And he and I, for the last, 4 or 5 years we were at the station, they did a revamping and a remodeling and put everybody, and he and I got quote unquote stuck in what was an old supply closet. Our 2 desks were back there. And we both loved it because the assignment desk couldn't really see us. We were out of the sight line of the assignment desk. We had our own quiet space back there. I mean, we were in there together, but we liked each other enough that even though we were in close proximity, we did well in there. And people would always say, I can't believe it. Do you ever ask them if they're going to move you? And I'm sorry you guys are stuck back there. And we always were like, yeah, I can't believe we're stuck back here. But really, we anchored Sunday mornings together for years. It was just really fun to see a lot of really great people.
That's awesome. I'm glad you had a good time. That's why weekends, people think, it's terrible to work weekends. Sometimes it's better because nobody's there. No bosses are there.
Yes, and you do bond differently when you're in those smaller groups. Yeah. We worked on Sunday mornings. The noon show was a little bit that way, too. We kind of had we were in our own ecosystem away from some of the other stuff. It was good memories.
All right. Thought 3. I was talking about Andre the Giant and the pain he had to go through. Speaking of physical pain, I spent 7 hours yesterday with photographer Randy Schwenkert, who's an incredible photographer, won over 20 Emmys. So we're working on a story for Sports Plus. And the premise is we know that many athletes are getting 5th, 6th, and sometimes 7 years. So the premise is we discover that I can play one more year at UMSL. I can get a 5th year. So I participated in an UMSL practice, trained with the SMET before, ran steps. And all I can say is men in their 60s should not be doing a lot of defensive slides or running upstairs. I have more pain in tendons that I didn't even know I had the tendons. The story airs Sunday at 10:30. 4 words, I got dunked on. And I do want to say thanks to the UMSL basketball players. They were really a lot of fun. We had a great time. So I got a text last night right after we shot this story at about 5:30. Coach Drink says, hey, I'm in town. I'll be at Francis House Central recruiting. Let's do it. So because I always tell them, when you come to town, you come to Channel 5. So, but this is why I bring it up, because it's a Jerry Maguire day in terms of movie review. Like right before the interview starts, he looks at me and he says, oh, I'm sorry, I got to take this right now. And then all of a sudden I hear him, hey, big man, just checking in, make sure we're still good. Hope you're doing well. It was just like from Jerry Maguire, recruiting players. I felt like I was watching the movie like 6 feet away from me. And then he had to walk out because he knew I was listening. And I go, all right, tell me what's going on. He goes, you'll find out tomorrow. So
have you found out yet?
No, I haven't. I just texted the Mizzou guy to find out. I have not heard anything yet. So it was really literally seeing Jerry Maguire in front of me, because the portal, there's actually, even though it's over, there's still some kind of like little clause you can still get a guy.
Of course.
And then finally, the Blues have not won a road game in 32 days, 7 losses in a row. My thought is this. You think the Cardinals did some selling off? If this continues, wait till you see what the Blues do at the deadline. And those are my thoughts.
Good. Very, very good stuff today for sure. And I mean, honestly, you're in incredible shape. But did you, for a second, think that you could keep up with those guys?
I thought I could handle it for a while. And after we just done like some stretching and conditioning before we actually got to practice, like I was like kind of gassed. Like, oh my God, do I suck? I mean, gosh, those guys are great.
You
I think you should just join the UMSOL golf team. You know,
that would have been a much
do,
smarter move.
You've got plenty of eligibility there.
I just don't have enough game.
Yeah.
Well, details.
Yeah. And like, real quick, the very first shot I took, because I was so gassed and tired from all the conditioning, it was not a good-looking shot at all. And the coach said, Bob Sunvold, he says, wide right. Oh, my God.
Oh, he's a great guy. We've had him on the show here. And of course, he'd be the most likely to let you come in and do whatever you wanted to, which is great. New online trend making the rounds all over the place. Sounds kind of odd at first, but honestly, it sort of makes sense. And actually, the Washington Post reported about it yesterday. It was on the Today Show today. I don't know if you guys have heard of it. It's called burping your house. Have either of you guys heard of this?
Burping your house.
Burping your house. Idea is simple. Once or twice a day, you open your windows, even in winter, for about 10 minutes to let fresh air circulate, push stale air out, move things like carbon monoxide that may create pockets in our homes. Turns out Germans have been doing this forever. They have a word for it. It's called Luften. They do it every single morning. Anybody you know who's originally from Germany, it's just what you do. Apparently catching on here because we've all been sealed inside our homes with recirculated air, synthetic smells, whatever last night's dinner is lingering. Experts do say that fresh air can reduce moisture, cut down on mold, and improve indoor air quality. Some people swear it boosts mood and focus. Others say it just makes their house smell like outside again. Just a reminder to get stuff going. I'm a big fresh air person, not necessarily in the middle of winter, but anytime our temperatures are, I would say, somewhere in between the 50s and the 80s, I'm likely to open up the house and turn on the exhaust fans just to get some fresh air moving. HVAC experts say we don't really need to open our houses like they did in Europe, where they still have a lot of radiator heat and steam heat to get that circulation, because we have pretty good ventilation systems already existing in our HVAC systems. It's more just kind of getting more of that fresh air in. Are you an open the window, let some air in?
I think a great idea.
Now, friends of mine who have terrible allergies say that all sounds well and good, Jill, but in the spring and in the fall, most of the time, if you open the windows to your house, you're causing me to not be able to breathe. So I get it. It kind of depends where you are on the allergy scale, whether you'd be a house
and here in
burper.
St. Louis, there's plenty of allergy causing things out there.
Yes. So I think we may not be the best candidate for it, and maybe in Germany they have a little better of that. What you might be a perfect candidate for is in 2026, getting stronger and getting better balance and getting better in shape for your golf game. Where can you do all those things? 20 Minutes Fitness. I have my appointment today. I'll be in there for 20 minutes. Muscle strength, one of the strongest predictors of how long we'll live. Things like grip strength. Dr. Rick has told us this time and time again. Measure how long we're going to live and the quality of life we have, right? Our health span versus our lifespan. One of the ways we know we improve our health span, which is not just how long we live, but how long we're doing the things we want to do in our life. When we lose up to 40% of our muscle mass between the ages of 20 and 80, it just makes sense to realize that if you want to hold on to that 40%, you have to do something to challenge your muscles. 30% of adults over 70 struggle to do things like just getting out of a chair. A much higher percentage of people couldn't get up off the floor if they needed to. Want to make that your goal so you have more of a mobility, more independence, more freedom? 20 Minutes to Fitness is the place to start. Check them out online or visit them in Chesterfield or Clayton. Sarah Fensky up next. Don't go away.
Dr. Joe, it can get very confusing, but the one thing we need to know is GLP-1, right? That's the magic cure.
Yeah, they're on the med, and these medications are used, these GLP-1s, for reducing inflammation in your body. I get so many folks that are like, wow, I don't have the knee pain. I don't have the...
Because once you start losing weight, all these other things naturally happen to you in a positive way. Not just talk about the deals for KTRS listeners at stlmedweightloss.com.
All KTRS listeners, they get $50 to $100 off their first month. And what's beautiful about it too, hey, I get it. The economy, what we just had, guys, things are difficult right now, but we make the plan work for you. We have financing options. We make this work for you because we realize how important it is to get down in your weight, get your confidence back, and really start feeling like the old you.
Call stlmedweightloss.com and ask Dr. Joe. stlmedweightloss.com.
I'm Missouri Attorney General Catherine Hanaway. When severe weather hits, scammers often follow. They may pose as charities, jack up prices on essentials, or offer fraudulent home repairs. I'm committed to protecting Missourians from those scams. If you've been targeted or suspect price gouging, report it to our office at 800-392-8222 or online at ago.mo.gov.
Paid for by the Missouri Attorney General's Office.
Hey, St. Louis, Eddie McVeigh here from Maggie O'Brien's, reminding everyone that I'm looking forward to seeing you at one of our 2 locations. Whether it be for lunch, happy hour, dinner, or late night, Maggie's is the place to be. Don't forget to catch our shuttle to all the major events downtown. And if you need a banquet room, small or large, for that special occasion, please give us a call at Maggie O'Brien's. Maggie O'Brien's 2 locations on South Lindbergh and Sunset Hills and downtown at the corner of Market and 20th Street. Union Station is next to us.
Wouldn't you like to take a vacation from your bills? Well, you can. With credit card balances at an all-time high and Golden Oak's 4.5% rate, you could be saving thousands of dollars after a simple phone call. Call today and get your cash in as little as 14 days and make no payments for 2 months. Call 314-567-GOLD.
Golden Oak Landing, cured my blues.
5.442 APR, FHA 15-year, 20% equity, qualified credit, additional terms apply. NMLS 114937.
The Missouri Valley Conference Men's Basketball Tournament has been the showcase for buzzer beaters, madness, and championship glory. With nearly 5 decades of heart-racing excitement, it begins here at Enterprise Center. The 2026 State Farm MVC Tournament, presented by Credit Union 1, Great Southern Bank, and SSM Health, tips off on March 5th through 8th. Celebrate 50 years of the Valley's postseason championship. Get your tickets now at archmadness.com.
St. Louis Auto Show returns January 22nd through the 25th at the Americas Center. Bring the whole family and explore hundreds of new vehicles from the world's biggest automotive brands. Then, get up close and personal with the coolest, most expensive rides ever created at the $1 Million Mile. There's even something for the kids with our Mid-America Chevy dealers, Sponsored Kids Zone. Get your tickets today at stlautoshow.com. Kids 12 and under get in free. That's stlautoshow.com.
When you pay for tree work, you want to be sure you're getting the most for your hard-earned money. That's why you should always use the ISA certified arborist at River City Tree Service in Baldwin, Missouri. Hi, I'm Steve with River City Tree Service, and we've been the go-to tree service since 2008. Tree removal, tree trimming, storm damage, deadwood removal, stump grinding, and more. Give River City Tree Service a call for all your tree service needs at 314-270-8071. That's 314-270-8071. River City Tree Service.
Welcome back to the Frank and Jill Show on a Wednesday morning that feels like a Tuesday because we had a holiday on Monday. If you guys are losing track like I have been this week, it is Wednesday morning, which means we get to talk to Sarah Fenske, our fave, executive editor of St. Louis Magazine, editor of the St. Louis Daily Newsletter, host of the 314 podcast, and Donnybrook moderator as well, or Donnybrook contributor as well. Very glad you're with us on the Frank and Jill Show. Jill, Frank, and Connor here. Sarah, I saw you guys reported that Hacienda, one of my faves in Rock Hill, is closing. This coming on the heels of news this week that Canyon Cafe at Plaza Frontenac. Last week we heard Robust in Webster Groves. We also had, there's been others. 3 of the High Point Burgers locations are closing, as well as one Session Taco in Kirkwood. Is this just the natural cycle of longtime restaurants moving out and new restaurants coming in, or do you think it's a bellwether that has something to say about our St. Louis economy?
I don't know if it's saying something about our St. Louis economy so much as it says something about our changing post-pandemic world. We're seeing this in cities around the country, even fast-growing cities. People just aren't dining out as much as they used to. And I think that's particularly pronounced in places like St. Louis, where, frankly, a higher percentage of the population has a sizable home with a large kitchen. We're not all living in little studio apartments here. It's one of the benefits of the low cost of living that we have. But unfortunately, we've all just gotten a little too chill. We're all hanging out more at home. We're all drinking a little less. We're instead staying home and streaming and maybe using cannabis more. Like, lifestyles have really changed. It is hitting our hospitality businesses so hard. And, fewer people dining out. This is happening at the same time that everybody has increased costs. And so I think you're seeing restaurateurs who tried so hard to hold it together, bring back business after the pandemic, just saying, you know what, this is not going to come back. Like, I have to accept that this no longer makes sense for me to make this my job.
Sarah, it also seems, in fact, almost every restaurateur that we have in, and mainly it's off the air, or the ones that I talk to, they all talk about the lack of good help nowadays as opposed to years ago.
Yes, that's 100% a factor. And that, it's harder for me to understand that one, honestly. Like, I do see a lot of people I know are going out less, and so I can sort of speak to what's driving that. But back in the day, everybody I knew, we all had jobs at restaurants. And that was what we did during high school and college. And it was so great to make that money because it paid so much better than retail. And I also knew people who, made their career in this. And it feels like maybe that's not the kind of jobs people want anymore. But don't people need jobs? I don't know. I don't understand the American economy vis-a-vis the workforce, because everybody I know seems to have a hard time finding good people. And yet, aren't there still good people in America? Like, somebody answer that for me. I don't know.
Yeah, that's a good thought.
Yeah, very good.
Very reflective. That should be on a bumper sticker.
Exactly. You guys reporting this morning in the St. Louis Daily Newsletter that Franklin County is the latest place to say, wait a second, let's put the brakes on this data center thing that everybody's saying it's going to be really great for us. And now residents are the ones saying, we're not so sure. Tell us.
Boy, there is such a backlash to these projects. And my colleague Eric Schmid was in Franklin County last night. I was sitting around waiting for him to file so I could edit the story and go to bed. Finally, I tuned into the live stream and just started watching it. And I was like, whoa, the anger that there was, not just for this project. And I think a big driving force on that is it is next to the Shaw Nature Reserve, which so many people rightly feel protective of. But people who just don't like this concept of AI taking over America and sucking up our resources, there's a lot of anger for that. I think you're going to see this more and more. You heard people in Franklin County last night saying, well, St. Charles and St. Louis blocked these projects. Why should we say yes? Almost this sense of like, don't try to pawn off something you couldn't push through in a bigger city out here. We're not going to stand for this either.
Do you think that's the right take on this, that we need to be more hesitant because we don't really know what the impact is going to be? Or do you think it's a case where we're all holding on to the status quo or just afraid of something new and we might be missing out on opportunities that could benefit us in the long run?
Boy, that is such a great question. And I wish I had a crystal ball so I could tell you, how is this whole data center thing going to pan out? I, for one, am very skeptical about it. I've read about some of these bigger projects. There's one in particular in Memphis that was done for Elon Musk's AI, which is called Grok. And just reading about the environmental impact of that in Memphis, it made me very leery. It is not something I would want in my neighborhood. And I understand that, yes, this is creating construction jobs at a point when there aren't that many construction projects going on. But I wonder at what long-term cost. So I think count me down as a skeptic. And, history could end up proving me wrong. I guess part of me hopes that I'm proved wrong because there's so many of these things being built across America right now that if this is a bad bet, this means we're headed down a bad path as a country.
So the lawsuit seeking to block the state from spending $1 billion on pro sports stadiums got booted. It's going to be appealed. But I think the real interesting thing is Governor Kehoe in all of this. Did he want to get credit for proposing the bill, but actually hoping it would fail? How do you see this?
Yeah, that's the take from my friend Beavis Schock, who's the attorney who brought this case. Beavis is always very quotable. So, I kind of thought he had a good question here. He said Governor Kehoe campaigned on fiscal prudence, on being a good steward of the resources here in Missouri. He says, this is very inconsistent, giving $1 billion away to sports teams. So, Beavis has these conservative lawmakers that are the lead plaintiffs in this lawsuit that he filed that tried to stop this. So far, they're unsuccessful, but he has made clear he is not giving up. They are taking this to the Missouri Supreme Court. He thinks they have a shot. That is going to be up to the justices.
Interesting stuff. Speaking of lawsuits and legal wrangling, a Missouri company is one that maybe helped defraud Norwegian Cruise Line, and there was some romance at the center of us. Help us understand this a little bit better.
Yeah, Yeah, this is today's tawdry little slice of scandal. My colleague
Frank will
Ryan
love this
Kroll,
then.
he loves these crime capers. Yeah, you have these two people who are apparently in a secret romantic relationship working for an unnamed Missouri company, and they were helping somebody who works for Norwegian Cruise Lines just embezzle $2 million from that company, creating all these fraudulent invoices. And then the guy who worked at Norwegian Cruise Lines would sign off on them, and then they would split the profits. It's kind of the oldest scheme in the book. And they pulled this off for about 2 years. Now they're all charged in federal court. At least one of them has hired somebody from Scott Rosenblum's firm. It's this is not how you want your crime caper to end.
Wow. Gosh, that is crazy. I got to give you credit for one line. Well, your whole thing is great, but your the family scene. I want to read this. Much like mid-century dads who bought Playboy for the articles, and then continue the story about the St. Louis Zoo membership.
Well, thank you for admiring this line.
That is clever.
I was cracking myself up while I was writing it. Yeah. We have a columnist who says he pays for his zoo membership just to ride the train. And I'm like, okay, this is like these dads, how they used to buy Playboy for the articles. But in his case, he's riding the train 50 times a year. It does, the membership at that point pays for itself. When you have two young kids who are train nuts, that's where it's going to go.
Sarah Fenske, as always, love having you here. Thanks so much for giving us the story behind the headlines. We look forward to our chat next week as well.
Very good writing and very good quotes today. You're outstanding.
Well, thanks. I appreciate that, guys. And it's always great to chat.
All right.
Hey, somebody else is always great to chat with is our friend Jeff Zufall over at Capital Advisory Group. And you know what? Some people who've been in the tax preparing business for a really long time, in the wealth management business for a long time, they don't love tax season. Jeff seems to really, really love it because he knows he's going to be able to help people, because he often runs into people who had been going maybe to that, not trying to diss anybody here, but to that strip mall tax preparer that pops up out of nowhere, does minimal training with its employees, or maybe somebody thought, for a number of years now, I'm just going to do this myself, and using the software, surely it will catch everything I'm supposed to do here when it comes to taxes. And then they bring their returns in. Jeff and his team go over them and find out that they had been really overpaying on taxes. They're due money back. It's a great feeling not only for the folks who are getting help from Capital Advisory Group, for Jeff and his team as well. So why don't you become one of those people this year? Reach out to Jeff and his team at Capital Advisory Group. Have them take a look at your taxes. Have them take a look at whether your wealth strategy for being able to live the life you want in retirement is a smart tax-based strategy as well. Make sure you're not overpaying on taxes. Everybody we've ever talked to who did this is so glad they did. 636-394-5524, capitaladvisorygrp.com. Gary Frank from Channel 5 up next to tell us what kind of weather we can expect.
Way back in time, if you had a leak in the roof of your hut, I imagine you had to find a tree close by, scale it, and then jump and hope you could get up there and see what was wrong. Then came the advent of the ladder. There was an easier way to get up there and see if something was wrong. And with modern technology, we finally get around to the drone. Now, the folks at Allen Roofing use those instead of trees and ladders. Send a drone up, find out if there's anything wrong with your roof, get some pictures, go over it with you, and see if there's a problem, how bad it is, what they could do, what it'll cost. Or if everything's just fine, they will tell you that too. Boy, it's so nice we don't have to climb trees to look at our hut. Allen Roofing, embracing technology and doing quality roof repair, siding, gutters, everything for the outside of your home. Just ask Gronk. He was one of the first customers. It's Allen Roofing. Find them online at aroofing.net.
Mom, what do you always say? There's nothing sadder than jewelry that sits in a drawer.
That's why we are proud to offer jewelry repair on site at Newstetter's Fine Jewelry. We know that your jewelry is important to you, and we take that part of our job very seriously. Visit us at Doherty Ferry in Big Bend or learn more at wowdiamonds.com.
You've had all these great ideas about what to do with your outside space. Now's the time to take the next step and call Outdoor Living, because Pat Leahy and the gang at Outdoor Living have built a showroom which is a great resource for you. You can go in and see all the products they have, the composite decking, the metal framing. You see, at Outdoor Living, what they pride themselves on is building it right the first time and never having to worry about it again. So they build it. You can enjoy it for the rest of your life. Outdoor Living, their showroom on Big Bend and I-44 in Kirkwood is a great resource for you. You can go and see all the different ways and all the different things they can do. Then they'll come out, they'll do a site visit, and in just a few short weeks, you will have the dream deck, fence, gazebo, pergola, whatever it may be. Outdoor living right there in Big Bend and I-44 in Kirkwood. 314-966-3325 or OutdoorLivingInc.com. Check out the showroom and take that next step. You'll love it. Outdoor Living or OutdoorLivingInc.com.
Got gold? Get green at Jewels on Hampton. Jewels on Hampton pays the most for your precious metals, jewelry, gems, currency, antiques, and collectibles. Jewels on Hampton buys precious and semi-precious gems and stones, scrap gold, and sterling silver. Jewels on Hampton buys and sells paper money, wristwatches, and pocket watches. They even take pianos and cars. To sum up, bring your gold chains, bracelets, rings, coins, dental gold, and more to Jewels on Hampton, 4506 Hampton Avenue in St. Louis. And get green online at jewelsonhampton.com.
For all of your travel needs, you go to the best travel agency in the world. Granted, I'm a little biased. Altair Travel and Cruises. They'll take you wherever you want to go in style. They'll handle all the details. You handle all the fun. Don't go to the Googles. Don't make that mistake. It all starts at Altair Travel and Cruises on Brentwood Boulevard, 314-968-9600. Anywhere you want to go, let Altair Travel take you. AltairTravel.com.
Welcome back. This is the Frank and Jill Show on the Big 550 KTRS. Gary Frank, one of the outstanding meteorologists from 5 on your side, joins us right off the bat. Everybody wants to know, what are the weatherman rules for taking off the blazer? Walter Cronkite knew when to take the glasses off. When does the meteorologist take off the coat?
I feel like I normally reserve it for severe weather, but when I know I'm going to be on there for a long time in a row, it gets a little steamy in there. You know, you're walking around a little bit, you're talking a long time. You got to make sure you take that off. That's my personal rule, at least. If I feel like I'm going to be on more than the normal standard stuff, she's coming off.
Mm-hmm. Well, you're on, I think, 17 hours a day thanks to the 5 on Your Side app now these days. So I guess the coat's off most time when you're on the 5 on Your Side weathercasts, right?
I think you're right, but it may be so cold this weekend, I might need to just keep it on. But it's going to be a game time decision, you know.
All right, give us a worst case scenario for St. Louis this weekend in the weather.
Foot of snow.
Oh my goodness! And then give us a realistic one.
I think I'm thinking about 4 to 6 right now, but it's trending up a little bit. So that's I think we're going to see some numbers that are interesting here, because what we have to contend with is obviously it's going to be just snow. So I think that's at least a positive, because as you're going to start to see this as a major winter storm for places that are not used to winter. Oklahoma, Texas, Arkansas, Tennessee. I mean, Nashville, Tennessee may get 20 inches of snow by this weekend. I mean, that is how historic it's going to be. But they're also going to contend with a fine line between sleet and freezing rain, which is going to cause power outages and crippling things on the interstate. For us, we know it's going to be snow. We know it's going to be fluffy snow, and we know it's going to be between 5 to 10 degrees. But as we've kind of run into this, anytime it's that cold and it sticks right away, it compacts down. It doesn't go anywhere. It's hard to treat the roads. And so that's where it's going to be a problem for us, I think, is the big story is the fact that we start to run into these problems where it's that cold and it snows and it's fluffy and it's just difficult to contend with.
Fortunately, I don't have any travel plans to go south of us in the foreseeable future, but I know a lot of people in St. Louis do tend to head places like Nashville or other points south, Little Rock, for everything from volleyball tournaments to all kinds of stuff on a given weekend. They're still talking like solid, debilitating ice storm in that strip of that kind of southern strip south of us as well.
Yeah, there's going to be a fine line between where that sets up, and I even think Nashville area is more snow than anything.
Okay.
I think, like I said, but even south of there is the ice storm. But yeah, that's where it becomes more challenging. And those are not, a lot of the times I think most of us think we can power through a lot of these things. And you can even make an argument where there are going to be times through the weekend where we can certainly drive. But those would be a situation where I would say so far up, if you are going to Nashville, and I think we have a lot of connecting flights, or where people are connecting in Dallas, or just the scale of this storm is going to impact and ripple effect upon airports and really make travel impossible in some spots around those areas where it's not even worth getting on the road, because then you're talking about situations where, you might be stuck in your car for 2 or 3 hours because you have one accident, and then you're stuck with the gas, and it's also cold, and then that's why we run these stories on the news so often where it's like, hey, have a weather preparedness kit in your car. Those are the situations where that, because then you're stuck on the interstate. You can't walk anywhere. It's snowing. And so those are the situations that they're going to contend with.
Final thought, when does it all begin in St. Louis, and when will it all end?
Well, it should begin by mid-morning or late or early afternoon Saturday is when I would expect the snow to start, and end by somewhere around mid-morning Sunday. That being said, the only things we have to contend with are if we have dry air Saturday when it's really cold, because we're going to start up around 0. But if that dry air cuts into the snowfall that's coming in from the west and southwest, then it will undercut our snowfall totals. That's where we see the 4 to 6 or less, right? And there are going to be better opportunities to the southeast for higher snowfall totals. But if it's snowing, say 10 o'clock in the morning Saturday, that's when we're going to say, hey, we are going to get 12 inches of snow, because then we start doing math here, because when it gets this cold, it doesn't take as much for, say, a quarter of an inch of liquid precipitation to generate. It's a 20-to-1 ratio as opposed to the normal 10-to-1. So then you're starting to do math in your head and saying, well, the more consistent that this thing snows, that's when we can see those high totals. So we're still fine-tuning that line as we start to get some of this high-resolution data and figuring it out.
Great stuff, sir. We'll be watching. Thanks so much.
You got it. Thanks, guys.
All right, Gary Frank joining us from 5 on your side.
He's
Take
so
it.
good. Such a
Yes,
nice
he
guy.
is good.
Hey, our friends at a McKnight Place Assisted Living say one of the things they hear from a lot of potential residents saying, I'm just not ready to give up my yard yet. I just love being outside. That's one of the reasons they put so much effort. I mean, this time of year, it's not where you can totally enjoy it, but they have beautifully landscaped gardens, outdoor spaces, walking paths. So if you're thinking of making that move and you'll be there in spring and summer, no worry. They even have a greenhouse. And then you start talking about all the other amenities when the weather's bad of things you can do. Theater, art room, just all kinds of people coming in and giving fascinating lectures, book clubs, lending libraries, all kinds of fun stuff, nightly happy hours, over 50 high-definition channels of satellite TV. Trust me, you will not have to worry about keeping occupied, keeping busy, keeping enriched, being stimulated. All those things are happening every single day in a way that most of us in our houses at home, getting bored watching the same old TV, can only dream about. Take a look for yourself. Go to McKnightPlace.com, 314-993-3333. Lots more coming up after the news.
Hi, it's Frank Cusimano inviting you to join me for the Press Box, brought to you by Control Option, Monday through Thursday at 6 p.m. We're going to interview some of the biggest names in sports and have our opening monologue. That's the Press Box, brought to you by Control Option, Monday through Thursday at 6 p.m. right here on the Big 550 KTRS, the talk of St. Louis.
I'm Jeff Zufall, Senior Tax Strategist and Wealth Advisor with Capital Advisory Group. Now, more than ever, having a tax strategy to protect and grow your wealth is an absolute must. Every Saturday, Josh Gilbert and I will discuss how you can keep what's yours, because the most important part of your wealth plan is your tax plan. That's Keep What's Yours this Saturday afternoon.
Capital Advisory Group presents Keep What's Yours with Jeff Zufall and Josh Gilbert this Saturday afternoon at 3 on the Big 550 KTRS.
The Big 550 KTRS St. Louis Talk.
From ABC News, I'm Michelle Franzen. At the World Economic Forum in Davos, Switzerland, President Trump addressed political and corporate leaders, repeating his push to acquire Greenland, saying the U.S. needs the Danish and NATO-protected territory for national security reasons. But the president backing away from the option of using military force. ABC's Karen Travers has more.
The president for weeks has not ruled that out. The administration has said that that was one of the options for the president, but that diplomacy was also an option. The president saying that's probably the biggest statement I made because people thought I would use force. He says, I don't have to use force. I don't want to use force. I won't use force.
The U.S. military says it started transferring Islamic State group detainees from prison in Syria to Iraq. U.S. Central Command says so far 150 IS members have been taken from Syria's northeastern province to secure locations in Iraq. As many as 7,000 could be transferred. The Supreme Court hearing arguments today on whether the president has the authority to fire a Federal Reserve governor over allegations of wrongdoing.
Lisa Cook was appointed to a 14-year term on the Fed board in 2023.
But President Trump moved to fire her last year, pointing to allegations, never tested in court, that before she joined the Fed, she claimed on mortgage applications that 2 different homes were her primary residence. The administration argues that meets the law's standard for a for-cause firing. Cook is taking her argument against that to the nation's highest court.
ABC's Stephen Portnoy. In Texas, closing arguments underway in the trial of former Uvalde school officer Adrian Gonzalez. He's charged with child endangerment related to the delayed police response in the 2022 mass shooting at Robb Elementary. Prosecutor Bill Turner telling jury members they have an opportunity to, quote, set the bar for how police officers should respond to school shootings. After the defense finishes its closing arguments, the judge will deliver jury instructions ahead of deliberations. You're listening to ABC News.
I'm Ed Evans. Since 1974, Permajack of St. Louis has been helping residential and commercial owners protect their biggest investment. From successfully solving foundation structural problems to making sure basements remain dry, Permajack has performed tens of thousands of projects on both sides of the river, utilizing state-of-the-art technology, techniques, and equipment. Permajack of St. Louis has done it with honesty and integrity, never recommending anything outside of what you really need. For many repairs, Permajack provides a transferable life of structure warranty, all while Permajack of St. Louis has earned a BBB A+ rating and accreditation. For foundation settlement, bowed or buckling walls, cracks in your foundation, walls or bricks, or basement waterproofing, choose the hometown family-owned team at Permajack of St. Louis. Schedule your free inspection and estimate at permajackofstlewis.com. That's permajackofstlewis.com. Permajack. Solid as rock.
This is KTRS News. I'm Sobe Bay. Franklin County residents are voicing opposition to the possibility of a data center being built in the area. KTRS's Jill Enders has the story.
Hundreds attended a Franklin County Planning and Zoning Commission meeting last night where they considered a proposal to rezone 575 acres of farmland near the Shaw Nature Reserve for a data center complex. Opponents fear the data center will deplete resources and negatively impact the environment. The Planning and Zoning Commission will make a recommendation on the proposal to the Franklin County Commissioners, who will have the final say on the project. Jill Enders, KTRS News.
The state of Illinois is calling on Congress and the Trump administration to require year-round sales of E15 fuel. Illinois Governor J.B. Pritzker sent a letter to congressional leadership urging nationwide year-round E15. The governor said agriculture is the number one industry in Illinois and that state farmers have the potential to fuel the world. He added that E15 enhances the nation's energy supply, helps the economy, and supports a cleaner environment all at once. Illinois is the second largest producer of corn in the nation, and year-round requirement for E15 would increase demand for corn by 2 billion bushels a year. A bill that would allow divorce during pregnancy is once again before the Missouri State Legislature. Yesterday, a House committee reviewed the proposed legislation, which would prevent courts from delaying a divorce based on a pregnancy. A popular polar bear at the St. Louis Zoo has moved out west. Kalik has been moved to the Oregon Zoo. St. Louis Zoo officials say this is part of a master plan by the Polar Bear Population Alliance to keep a sustainable and genetically diverse population of polar bears in the nation's zoos. The Missouri Department of Conservation has announced that a levee project underway in North St. Louis County may affect visitors there this year. More from KTRS's Steve Potter.
The Columbia Bottom Conservation Area off Riverview Drive, north of 270 in Spanish Lake, is a destination for many in the spring and summer for fishing, hunting, and bird watching, and is also popular because of its hiking and biking trails. A current project is now underway by the U.S. Corps of Engineers to realign the flood protection levees. So you may see heavy equipment and road closures as workers remove sections of old levees and build new ones. The area will remain open to the public, but visitors are encouraged to check the MDC's Columbia Bottom webpage before visiting. The project will eventually reconnect the 3,500 acres there to the natural floodplain and will lessen the impact of future floods in the area. Steve Potter, KTRS News.
And this KTRS Business Minutes is brought to you by Walter Knoll Florist, the place for all your floral needs. Place your order anytime at WKF.com. It's the end of an era for a longtime Rock Hill restaurant. The last day of operation for Hacienda Mexican Restaurant will be on Sunday after over 50 years in business. The owners cited rising costs as the reason for closure. And now let's take a look at the markets, brought to you by JBL Financial. Tune in to Trade Talk on Retirement, Saturday mornings 9 to 11. Wall Street right now, Dow Jones is up 443 points to 48,931. NASDAQ is up 273 points to 23,227. S&P 500 is up 71 points to 6,867. KTRS Sports, Mizzou basketball lost at home for the first time this season, falling to number 21 Georgia 74-72. The Tigers slipped to 3-3 now in the SEC, with Oklahoma coming to Columbia on Saturday. And the Blues fall to the Jets 3-1 after their first trip back to Winnipeg since Game 7 last spring. The note allowed 2 power play goals, which turned out to be the difference in the matchup. KTRS weather today sunny, high of 46. Tonight, cloudy, overnight low of 23. Tomorrow, cloudy, high of 37. But right now we have 43 degrees. The time is 11:07. I'm Sobe Bay, KTRS News, the talk of St. Louis.
St. Louis is home to more than 80,000 University of Missouri, St. Louis alumni, where they drive the region's economy and contribute to its social and cultural well-being. At UMSOL, more is what moves us. Find your more at more.umsl.edu.
Well, the movie, of course, is Jerry Maguire. Tariq Khan is here. Boy, I tell you what, you have picked just one of the great movies. I enjoyed it more watching it now than I did when I watched it originally. This is one of the greats. I think it cost $50 million to make. It made $273 million. Just an overall thought to begin with.
Okay, Jerry Maguire, hard to believe that the movie came out 30 years ago. It did come out in December of 1996, so it's not technically quite 30 years old, but it will celebrate that birthday this year. And it's a movie that was both a critical and commercial success at the time. Received 5 Academy Award nominations. And it's funny, audiences loved it, both men and women, young people, older audiences. It was a film that had broad appeal and really holds up to this day. And I should mention, Tom Cruise was nominated for the Academy Award for Best Actor. He did not win. But really, watching it again, he was just dynamite. I think this was really one of his best roles, his best performances. And Oscar or no Oscars, he proved what a great actor he is, Tom Cruise.
I agree with that 100% because we have the big, loud scenes. Of course, the 2 of the most iconic movie quotes of all time, "Show me the money," "You had me at hello." But the thing that I didn't notice the first time that I watched this time is a lot of subtlety. Like there's just the looks on his faces at certain times and reactions, and as stuff is shifting, it really is a very strong performance from him. For sure. What do you think about Cameron Crowe as a director in this film?
Oh, he was dynamite. Terrific job directing. He actually did not get nominated for the Oscar for Best Director, which was kind of, I think, a major oversight, but he did a terrific job. And, one of the key things about this film is that it's called Jerry Maguire. It really is a character film. And not only was Tom Cruise's performance fantastic, but the way that Cameron Crowe, he managed to show Tom Cruise, his character grow throughout the film and change through the film. And the way that we saw Tom Cruise develop that relationship with his player, his one client, played by Cuba Gooding Jr., exactly, and also the relationship with Renee Zellweger at the time. I mean, those 2 different storylines, the balance was perfect. Both developed so well. And by the end of the movie, you felt like you really grew with these characters and you were emotionally invested. And that's why the payoff was just so terrific at the end of the movie and why audiences loved it so much.
And the movie was based loosely on the life of a famous sports agent at the time named Lee Steinberg, who we in St. Louis got to know. I spent 3 hours at his house one day because he was the one who was trying to keep the Rams in L.A. when we took them from L.A. But that's what I thought was really cool. It was so realistic. I just mentioned the little story I had with Eli Drinkwitz last night. But then to have like Roy Firestone play himself, and Al Michaels, and Deardorff, and Drew Bledsoe, and all these real life figures playing themselves, it was real.
Oh, absolutely. And at times it almost felt like a documentary, though, the interaction between, Tom Cruise and some of those other, famous athletes who had cameos, and, their dialogue, their reactions were also realistic. So, that did add a special touch to the film, which I think made it so authentic.
Let's talk a little bit about the people that were supporting actors in this film. I mean, many of them were beginning careers, even the lead actor, Renee Zellweger.
Yes.
But we have Cuba Gooding Jr., Jonathan Lipnicki, of course, as the little kid, Kelly Preston, Bonnie Hunt, Jerry O'Connell, Jay Moore. I mean, all of them went on to have pretty successful careers, but I thought they all played a really key role in this movie. What are your thoughts?
Oh, absolutely. Yes, outstanding supporting cast. And I should mention, Renee Zellweger, she was largely unknown at the time. This was her breakout role, and she beat out some tough competition to get the part. I think Winona Ryder, he was a huge star back in the 90s. She wanted the part. So did Amira Sorvino. They considered Marissa Tomei, who was an Oscar winner for My Cousin Vinny. But Renee Zellweger got the part, I think, based on her audition, and it was really genius because she was the girl next door. I mean, you really bought her in that role. She was so realistic. Seeing her as a young mother who had this crush on this big sports agent, Sherry Maguire, I mean, she just knocked it out of the park. And she, of course, has gone on to be a big star. She was not nominated for Jerry Maguire, which I think was really unfair. But she did go on to win 2 Academy Awards for the films A Cold Mountain and also Judy as well. But Jerry Maguire, a star-making performance, and she was cast just perfectly in the film.
I don't know, and this would be a great question for our text line, about if there's ever been a kid who is more cute and who is just, every time he's in a scene, you just can't get enough of it than Jonathan Lipnicki. I know their kid in Kramer versus Kramer was cute, Macaulay Culkin was cute, and Corey Feldman in Stand By Me, that was good. But this kid, every time he was in there, you just loved him more and more.
Yes, and what was remarkable was the chemistry between him and Tom Cruise.
Yes.
I mean, when they first met on screen, you could feel that he felt this affection for Tom Cruise, and that Tom Cruise, that Jerry Maguire sort of fell in love with him, and the way that relationship progressed over the film, and how you really felt like they were meant to be father and son. I mean, he was the kid Jonathan Lipnicki was terrific, and the relationship was really key to the film and made it so heartwarming as well.
A couple of other people who made their debuts in this film, Eric Stoltz and Lucy Liu, had just basically cameos in there.
Tiny parts, yes.
Yeah, before they, Glenn Fry.
Yes,
he has a
yes.
little cameo. You mentioned so many of the sports cameos as well. I kind of watched this and thought this was really a sports movie / romantic comedy. Connor pointed out that a lot of sports movies really rely on that romantic storyline to sort of make it wildly popular. Would you say that's true, that is a common through line in a lot of sports movies like this?
Oh, yeah, no question. I mean, I think if the film had just focused on the storyline, with Jerry Maguire and his client, I mean, it would have been a good film, but adding in that love story, and the way, of course, that, the person he fell in love with in the film was actually somebody he worked with. And that scene at the beginning of the film when after he's fired and he's leaving the audience,
it's so cringy,
office,
isn't it?
and he says, who wants to go with me? And everyone's silent. And suddenly she stands up and says, Jerry Maguire, I will go with you. And he says, Dorothy Boyd, thank you. That moment was just great. And the way that sort of set off the plot and the relationship, that was so great. And the movie, I think, works so well, having that romance, at the same time as the sports actions were taking place. But at the same time, it wasn't overdone. I mean, it wasn't too cheesy, I don't think. It felt realistic. And again, as an audience, you really rooted for them to get together. And you were so happy when they ended up together at the end, when, of course, Tom Cruise, or actually Renee Zellweger, interrupted him and said, you had me at hello. I mean, just a classic, film moment.
So in terms of Cruise at his best, could you make a case for this? Or do you say Rain Man and A Few Good Men are on an island? I know Eyes Wide Shut got a lot of support, but I think this is like as good as he.
Oh,
as
absolutely.
Good as he's been, and maybe the best he's ever been.
Honestly, yes. Now, of course, he was nominated for 1989's Born on the 4th of July. He would have won the Oscar, but unfortunately, that was the same year as Daniel Day-Lewis and My Left Foot. So Cruise lost, and this was his second nomination. But really, he knocked it out of the park. He was sensational.
So never won.
No, he's never won. He had one more nomination for supporting actor for Magnolia. But really, Jerry Maguire, I mean, the performance, it was so layered. It was so nuanced, and he showed so much range, so much emotion. There was talk at the time. He actually lost to Jeffrey Rush and Shine, but late film critic Gene Siskel said that Tom Cruise was his choice for Best Actor. There was talk that maybe he just might be able to pull off an upset, and I think he came very close, but it just didn't quite make the finish line. But really, one of his all-time great performances, Tom Cruise.
Yeah, it just was overwhelmingly entertaining. I mean, it fired on all those cylinders, and I thought it stood the test of time fairly well. I will ask Connor that in a minute because he always weighs in on, gives us a better perspective. Since I loved it the first time around when it was originally in movies, sometimes it's hard for me to judge that. Frank, what did you think about the sports scenes and the football scenes? Did you buy Cuba Gooding Jr. As an actual professional football player?
In fact, he was a slot receiver. He was a guy that became very popular a little bit later in like the Tom Brady era, where he'd had these guys that are like 5'10", just catch everything over the middle. So, and obviously he looked the part. He was in great shape. They had a bunch of locker room scenes. I'm not sure why, but they did. And
and of course...
Thank goodness. I think it added a lot.
Yes, I bet it did.
And of course, he was the one Oscar win for the film. He won Best Supporting Actor for that performance. I mean, he had that classic line, "Show me the money." It was just a great scene-stealing performance. I should mention that at times there has been some criticism over his win. People say that he should not have beat out the likes of William H. Macy in Fargo, who was sensational, Edward Norton in Primal Fear. But at the time, Cuba Gooding Jr., there was so much, I think, passion for the film that they had to vote for it somewhere. And he was such a scene stealer. He was the one who walked away with the Oscar.
So is his, like, the sexual misconduct allegations against Cuba Gooding Jr., is that the reason that we haven't seen as much of him? I know he played O.J. Simpson in that one series, but he hasn't done a whole lot because he was so unbelievable in this role.
Right, yes. They say at times for the supporting actor Oscar, supporting actress, there can be a curse after you win, your career kind of goes downhill. And, he had some hits and misses, in the years after that. So that really was, Jerry Maguire was the peak of his career. And yes, of course, the misconduct allegations probably have hurt his career. But at the time, he got great reviews performance. He won the Screen Actors Guild Award, won the Oscar. It's unfortunate that his career, didn't perhaps, do as well in the long run, but still, he has the Oscar, and that's something that no one will ever take away from him.
Yeah, because he started out at Boys in the Hood,
right,
and obviously that's where he got on a lot of people's radar. Do you mind? I know we're getting into Oscar season for 2026. The nominees are going to be announced shortly. Do you care to make any predictions since you are an Academy Award aficionado? Tarek Khan.
Well, Frank and I, we actually just recorded a segment for 500 Side just the other day, and I'll tell you right now, for Best Picture, the leading contenders, there'll be 10 nominees for Best Picture, but the films you can count on being nominated: One Battle After Another, Sinners, Marty Supreme, Frankenstein, and Hamnet. Those are the leading contenders. And of course, for Best Actor, I've been saying it, Timothée Chalamet, Marty Supreme, he is going to get nominated. He's going to go all the way. Just unbelievable performance. If you've not seen Marty Supreme, check it out. I guess it's a sports movie in a way because it's about table tennis, right? But he was just amazing, and he's going to win the Oscar this year.
What percentage of the people who vote on the Oscars are females?
Oh, nowadays, I think the membership I think it's close to 40% now. The membership is of the Academy's female, they say.
Because Lynn, one of our movie reviewers here, has brought up the fact that most men will love it and many women will not.
I don't think that's true.
No,
I think most people I've seen it with, people I've talked to, about the film, have enjoyed it. I think most women I've spoken to who've seen it really enjoyed it. So I think it's a movie for everyone. And again, it's basically centered on Chalamet's just outstanding performance. So I think it's a film for everyone.
Speaking of women, in the movie, the divorced women's group.
So Bonnie Hunt. I mean, I love her. I think she's great in everything, but she particularly has a really compelling energy in this film.
Oh yes, may I mention one quick line of hers? She said to Renee Zellweger, she said, please don't cry at the beginning of the date, cry at the end. That's what I always do. And yeah, that was brilliant.
Yeah, she said, don't cry at the beginning of the date, but don't cry at the end either, because that's what I always end up having to do.
Yes,
I do love it. Yeah, because that could have been a caricature role where you end up like way overplaying it, like some of the women in the group did, and she just had this slightly sardonic, cynical energy to her that was very, very fun.
And it made the final scene even more powerful because many of these women were like that, or they're portrayed like that, and even they were just overwhelmed by the love between the two.
Yes, yes. Oh, may I mention real quickly when she says to to her sister, she says, "Well, he better, this guy." She not met Jerry Maguire. She goes, "He better not be good looking." And then he knocks on the door. He's got his sunglasses on, his smile. She's like, "Oh, you're exactly how I pictured you." So that was also just
one
great
quick thing
delivery.
too, and I think I've read this, but I didn't catch it when I originally watched it. But how crazy the timing is, because it's a Monday night football game. In Arizona. So the game ends at, say, 10:30, and then you have media and showering till 12. Then you catch the flight at, let's say at 1. If there's a red eye, and it's an hour 20 flight, so you don't get back to Los Angeles till 2:30, and the women still are having their meeting at 2:30.
That probably that probably was not true.
Not that I want to nitpick.
Connor, did you rewatch this movie with us?
I did.
Does it stand the test of time?
Yeah, I really like it. I think it's I really like the sports angle of it as well, and it's really funny. A lot of it's really funny, so I think it really holds up.
All right, so we got some great movies coming up. What's next?
Yes, in 2 weeks, a film celebrating its 50th anniversary, a Best Picture winner of 1976, Rocky, a film
Hold on, let
which...
me genuflect. Okay.
Frank, yes, I know you've talked about this film a lot, so we're excited to do that.
Also, you're really sore today from yesterday, so don't fall down. We want to be able to help you back up.
And then you have one more after that.
That's right, a film that will be celebrating its 30th anniversary next month, The Silence of the Lambs. Can you believe that?
This is like the three best back-to-back stretch we ever had.
Hey, I said I would show you the money, and I am, right, Frank?
So let me call my therapist. So I have get some sessions before and after we
There's
rewatch.
no anniversaries for Bridget Jones' Diary coming up.
Oh, yeah, 25 years. So we'll be doing that as well, Frank. So glad you brought it up.
All right, we'll do it during spring break.
Thank you so much. By the way, if people want to watch the special that you and Frank have put together talking about the Oscars and giving us some more of your predictions, how can they watch that?
Oh, just go to KSDK Online. That segment's posted there. And also, tomorrow after the nominations come out, I'll be doing another segment with our anchor, Kelly Jackson. So that'll be on KSDK's website. So, yes, tune in, and we'll do lots of Oscar coverage throughout the season.
Great stuff, sir. We'll see you in a couple of weeks. Thank you so much.
You're the best, Tarek. Speaking of the best, somebody else who's the best at what they do is our friend Ryan Raphael, the Medicare man. He just loves what he does. He doesn't ever get tired of helping people. And this note came in a few months ago on our text line, and we just loved it. Quote, "You need to know Ryan Raphael has helped me so much with my senior insurance plan. He was such a gentleman, so helpful, knowledgeable, and kind. I can't thank him enough." And by the way, I heard about him on KTRS. We love that text because Ryan is the Raphael man. Ryan Raphael is the Medicare man, and he loves helping us through the confusing process of finding that right Medicare man. Right Medicare plan, easy for me to say. A lot of people tell us they get overwhelmed in this process, and that's where Ryan says you need that trusted thinking partner to be able to walk through it with him. Call him today. It's time to set up that appointment. There's an enrollment period opening up where you can make some changes. Coming up on the calendar soon, Ryan will be joining us tomorrow to tell us all about the timing on that. In the meantime, set up your appointment today, 314-368-6808, MedicareManSTL.com. For the right plan, call the Medicare man.
You know, over the years, Lordo's has become part of the family for many, many St. Louis families. For 80 years, they've been helping St. Louis families with all of the jewelry needs, whether it's the diamond ring, a diamond ring, maybe something for St. Patrick's Day, something for an anniversary, Valentine's Day. Throughout the years and throughout the calendar, it's Lordo's as your go-to. Whether it's men or women, you want to repurpose something or buy something new, Lordo's Diamonds in the heart of Ladue on Clayton Road. You see, it's a family business. The family's been running it for years, and they learned it from their father, who learned it from their father. And so that family jeweler is where generations of St. Louisans go. Grandparents have gone there. Your grandkids will go there. Right there in Ladue on Clayton Road, across the street from a Norman Rockwell-esque firehouse, is Lordo's Diamonds. Go in, make a friend, and make them your family jeweler, because you can thank me later. 314-432-8008 or online, lordosdiamonds.com.
Hey, St. Louis, Eddie McVeigh here from Maggie O'Brien's, reminding everyone that I'm looking forward to seeing you at one of our 2 locations. Whether it be for lunch, happy hour, dinner, or late night, Maggie's is the place to be. Don't forget to catch our shuttle to all the major events downtown. And if you need a banquet room, small or large, for that special occasion, please give us a call at Maggie O'Brien's. Maggie O'Brien's 2 locations on South Lindbergh and Sunset Hills and downtown at the corner of Market and 20th Street. Union Station is next to us.
SSM Health welcomes the St. Louis Golf Expo, January 30th through February 1st at the St. Charles Convention Center. Buy big brands with Pro-Am Golf, test skills at our simulators, savor beer and cocktails, get bonus golf, free balls, and special offers while they last. VIP tickets at stlgolfexpo.com.
How would you like your vehicle serviced at your own home or office? Our new Mobile Service Plus, available exclusively from St. Paul Cadillac, can do just that. Hi, this is Joe Clemens. Simply give us a call or go to our website and get a unit dispatched right to your doorstep. This is a game changer for customer service, and we are so happy to offer it to you. Everything from oil changes, belts, new tires, tire rotation, recalls, key fobs, brake pads and rotors, EV charge, battery replacement, air conditioning service, and so much more. St. Paul's Mobile Service Plus will come to you. Call our mobile dispatch at 636-931-0055. That's 636-931-0055. Or go to our website at stpaulcadillac.com and set up an appointment. It's that simple. Get door-to-door service with St. Paul's new Mobile Service Plus. Nothing could be easier. Set up your appointment today. That's Mobile Service Plus exclusively from St. Paul Cadillac at the Herculaneum Auto Mall exit.
Recently, a good friend of mine was changing the light fixture in their kitchen, and they took the light fixture off the ceiling and they looked inside the ceiling and said, "What is the phone number to Michael Baldy?" If they would have listened to me, they would have put Michael Baldy's phone number in their phone, because everybody needs a good electrician on speed dial. So here you go. The next time you need an electrician, you need to remember Michael Baldy and Baldy Electric. So the phone number, 314-968-9999. Indoor, outdoor, an old Victorian home, knob and tube wiring, and anything and everything in between. You see, Michael Baldy is a licensed electrician, and he has a team ready to go. Whether it's something for the ceiling in the kitchen, something for the lights for the holidays, whatever it may be, Michael Baldy and Baldy Electric. BaldyElectric.com, 314-968-9999, because everybody needs a good electrician on speed dial, BaldyElectric.com.
The Bommarito Automotive Group is Missouri's #1 automotive group. They've sold over 1 million vehicles by giving you a better price, a better selection, and more for your trade. You can shop them online, see their entire inventory online at Bommarito.com.
Want a song?
You're on my mind like a song on the radio.
Want a quote? It's the song and quote of the day on the Frank and Jill Show. Right here on the Big 550 KTRS.
By the way, somebody writing in, I wonder why Frank doesn't like the locker room scene in Jerry Maguire. Is it because Cuba doesn't have a shirt on? If it was a women's locker room, he'd be all over it. I just want to say I think it was exploitation of men. I'm not in favor of that, and Jill apparently is because she liked the scene.
Well, I'm just saying I really thought it added to the texture, richness to the movie. Yes. I think it would have been wrong if it wasn't in there. So that's all I am saying. I promise you as well.
As I said to Monique while she was watching it last night intently again, we watched the second half of it, and I just said, lust is a sin. So you can live with yourself.
You've actually texted that to me on multiple occasions as well. So you have to stop using that line.
It's my only thing. I got nothing else.
Only thing. That's the only thing you can do.
Yep.
Well, I ran across the other day something that I thought was a little historically interesting for a couple of reasons. But it's the first time that Elton John sang on the Johnny Carson song. The song he sang was "Sorry Seems to Be the Hardest Word." And some say it's one of the best live performances he ever had of this song. See what you guys think. Maybe it's just because I love this song so much, but I just think it's he just does such a good job. He said he was actually really nervous about this appearance, and so he did. Johnny, of course, had him come over to the couch, did his first interview with him, and listen to what Johnny Carson asks him and how young Elton answers it. Do you agree with that? Do you think it was the kind of the showmanship, the being ostentatious, that led so many Americans to see them as appealing? Or do you think it was just they happened to churn out a lot of great musicians?
Hadn't really thought about
the
it.
latter, I would go with.
Okay.
No, I think he's right, though. I mean, like, there weren't a lot of big showmans on the American side of things for rock. I mean, there definitely were, but I'm thinking in the 60s.
What about Elvis, though? He would...
Yeah, I mean, I guess, but that
and
was
he had wide appeal
kind
in
of
Europe,
kind
too.
of like before,
Mhm.
I feel like the period he was talking about, but in the kind of the 60s. But I don't know. I think he's onto something.
I always loved the end of Rocket Man when you went through all the travails of his life and they played I'm Still Standing. It was just like the most perfect way to end that movie with everything he's done, and I'm Still Standing.
You were talking about the movie from a few years
Yeah,
ago.
2019,
I liked that movie, didn't love it because I think I was expecting it to be like the Freddie Mercury movie, which kind of blew me away. And so if I wouldn't have had that to compare and contrast it to, I probably would have enjoyed it more. But there was just something about that one that just didn't
It was
quite...
goofier, and I don't think it's as good as a movie, but as good of a movie. But I do think the ending was really cool.
Somebody asking when this appearance on Johnny Carson was from, where he sang the song and just the interview clip that you heard. That was from 1980. So he was only 33 years old in 1980.
78 now.
Yeah. I mean, I've fawned over him many times on the air before. There's just something about Elton John that always touches my heart. I would not have said I was a super fan by any means when I was growing up or even in the 80s, but it's one of those things now. It's really, I think it took until I was in my 50s until I truly appreciated his music being woven in so deeply kind of to the fabric of my childhood and life.
Let's see, I'm sure I saw him and Elton John at Busch Stadium. They used to tour together. Yeah, I saw them at Busch.
That would have been early 90s.
Yep.
I was at that tour too, and we had such nosebleed tickets. You really couldn't tell who either person was. And there was definitely kind of what we were seeing, what was happening on the screen. Their lips weren't matching what you were seeing on the screen because we were so far back, but it was still really,
How was
really
Elton
good.
John's health?
When we saw him in St. Louis a couple of years ago, which, by the way, I mean, I ended up like crying through half of that concert. It was just so moving. He was so heartfelt. His voice was holding up pretty well. What I noticed when he was, like, we'd seen the Eagles that same year earlier in concert, and those guys were still moving around. Their physicality was still kind of amazing. When Elton got up a couple of times from the piano and walked over to the edge of the crowd, there was a little kid that was there that his parents had brought, and he wanted to address. He was limping very hard. He seemed to really have some physical mobility issues, but he sounded great. And he certainly could play the piano as well as ever. But he says no more tours now.
And Billy Joel has cut back dramatically too. I think he's not doing anything right now, but he had a brain disorder.
And Billy Joel
diagnosis.
has had voice stuff that Elton John, I don't think, has had to.
Did you see the Billy Joel doc?
Yeah. On your recommendation, we watched both parts, and that stuck with us too. I thought it was very, very good. Well done. Yeah, I'm glad that genre exists in entertainment the way it does now, so we can learn.
The docs. Yeah, boy, if you get the right documentarian and you get a subject like Billy Joel or even Andre the Giant, I mean, somebody just lived this fascinating life. Gosh, that's great.
Yeah, and you have to love how many of them are being told in the sports arena. The Troy Aikman one was very good. The John Elway, at your recommendation, we watched that. It was really interesting as well.
I know you're not a huge fan of the NFL Network, but they do a football life where they go deep into a famous, legendary career. And they did one on Michael Strahan, who I know you know, Good Morning America, former great player. And
now also sports broadcaster as well.
Yes. But they finished that off. It seems like everything I remember is from the song. But they finished his off with A Lovely Day. And he's driving this tricycle from his childhood onto the set of Good Morning America. It's going to be a lovely day. I mean, it's just like the coolest finish. We used to be able to do this in local television now, but the rights to use music, nobody subscribes to. They don't want to pay it. So you really can't do like pieces with have.
So what do you end up using music at all, or just?
Yeah, we do music all the time, but we can't use the actual.
Yeah, it's just the unlicensed. Yeah.
Yeah, and they used to pay those fees when I was there, so we
ASCAP,
could.
it was called.
Yeah,
BMI.
and so we could use you were limited to the length of the song. You couldn't do a full on music video, but you could use quite a bit of it in a news story, and it definitely added to the emotion and to the
You're right.
entertainment
If you
value of it.
Get a piece of music that works with this subject. Oh my gosh, that was good TV.
Yeah, very, very well said. But speaking of things that are as good, some things in life are not as good as they used to be. Something that is as good as it's ever been, and maybe even getting better all the time. Our friends over at Premier Heating and Cooling, 25 years of experience in both residential and commercial HVAC. A lot of times, companies are an either or. The one thing they love doing at Premier Heating and Cooling is helping small business owners, large business owners, anybody make sure that they have ideal conditions to be able to conduct the business that they love doing. They're business owners themselves, so they understand how important having great HVAC in your business is. They're family owned. Sale, service, and installation. They really care about each aspect of the process. A lot of people are good at sales. They're maybe okay at service, but when it comes to actually having the really dedicated, really well-trained team to install these sometimes complicated, technically difficult systems, that's where people kind of fall down on the job. Premier Heating and Cooling, they pride themselves on all aspects of the process being just the best there is in the business. By the way, they'll come out, they're fully licensed, bonded. They'll come out and give you a free estimate on something that you want in your home. So if you're not sure that you want to do it right now or you just want information, they're happy to do that as well. Reach out today, 636-916-1122, premierheatingcooling.net.
Hey, Heidi Glaus here, inviting you to join me October 24th as we journey in search of Iceland's magical Northern Lights with Colette. We're going to experience the land of fire and ice with a rare opportunity to search for the Northern Lights, one of nature's most dazzling light displays. We'll see steaming lava fields, massive glacier-sculpted mountains and valleys, not to mention thundering waterfalls. We'll travel the Golden Circle and walk on a black volcanic sand beach, plus relax in the warm, mineral-rich water of the Blue Lagoon. This and so much more. Colette handles the details from flights, meals, hotels, and local experiences. Your only job is to have the time of your life. Don't miss out. Join me and call our friends at Altair Travel, 314-968-9600, or go to KTRS.com to learn more. That number again, 314-968-9600.
St. Louis Auto Show returns January 22nd through the 25th at the America's Center. Bring the whole family and explore hundreds of new vehicles from the world's biggest automotive brands. Then, get up close and personal with the coolest, most expensive rides ever created at the $1 Million Mile. There's even something for the kids with our Mid-America Chevy dealers, Sponsored Kids Zone. Get your tickets today at stlautoshow.com. Kids 12 and under get in free. That's stlautoshow.com.
Country Club Car Wash is the best car wash in town. How do I know? I have an unlimited monthly pass to Country Club Car Wash, and it's fantastic. They're touchless, and you get free vacuums at select locations. Each and every day on the morning show, we will be giving away one free Country Club Car Wash to the text of the day. And each week, we'll be giving away a grand prize, 1 month of free Country Club Car Washes to the text of the week. We'll see you on the show, and we'll see you at Country Club Car Wash, cccwstl.com.
I'm Mark Cantor. Here's why you can count on Cantor Injury Law.
My name is Michelle. I'm a litigation paralegal at Cantor Injury Law, and you can count on Cantor because we are smart, honest, and hardworking.
I'm Kevin Glenn, and a partner here at Cantor Injury Law. You can count on Cantor because we make your cause our cause.
No fee if no recovery. Please visit CantorInjuryLaw.com or call us at 314-628-9999.
The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely upon advertisements.
Hey, it's Jill Farmer for Premier Heating and Cooling. When winter hits St. Louis, your furnace doesn't get a day off, and if yours is older, it may be running nonstop and still not keeping you comfortable. Winter has a way of exposing weak links. You're probably paying more and getting less. Or if your home never quite feels warm enough in the winter, your furnace may be telling you something else, especially if it's been around for a while. That's why I want you to call Premier Heating and Cooling. Their technicians go through 5 years of training beyond industry standards. It's Premier standards. Heating your home shouldn't feel like a struggle. Older furnaces work harder and use more energy. If you want lower energy bills and better heat, It's just all around smarter to consider a new furnace. And yes, Premier offers financing, which makes upgrading a whole lot easier. So whether you need a tune-up or you're ready for something new, make your winter a lot more comfortable for your home or your business. Call 636-916-1122. PremierHeatingCooling.net. Comfort you can count on.
The St. Louis Chess Club is a newly expanded 30,000 square foot state-of-the-art chess center featuring world-class tournament playing halls, classrooms, library, and casual play spaces for everyone who loves the game.
But it's so much more than a place to play.
It's where champions are built on the board, in the classroom, and across the community with a mission to bring the game to everyone from all levels, with membership starting at just $15 a month.
Discover the excitement, the challenge, and the community of chess at stlouischessclub.org.
Have I been saying it wrong all these years, Frank Cusimano, on the Frank and Jill Show on KTRS, the Big 550, the Talk of St. Louis? I've always called it Chris's Steakhouse because somebody told me to.
Yeah, I think it's the most mispronounced, and I don't even know which one it is. A lot of people say Creases. Most people say Chris's. You know, it looks like Creases with the way it's spelled. But Nick Bogdanos, who is actually in another profession, but also runs this restaurant along with his aunt, I believe. He's going to be with us tomorrow to talk about the incredible success of one of our favorite all-time restaurants.
So are you going to ask? Yeah, you're going to ask him how it's pronounced.
Yes.
Yes, we're going to find out along with our viewers exactly once and for all the actual correct way to pronounce it, and then we're going to find out what his other profession is. I think it's going to be a very fun conversation as well. You asked a great question at the beginning of our show today. What are your pet peeves? Because you really were made probably 30 seconds late, which is enraging, I guess, because somebody backed in a parking spot ahead of you and you didn't like it.
No, that's not the story. Connor, this is false reporting. Would you agree?
I mean, it's like
we're making fun of people who think they can save 7 seconds by backing in.
Yeah, I would like to. I'd like to get some like tests going, maybe with a stopwatch, to see exactly how much time is saved considering the back in and the back out.
The analytics.
So you're saying it's stupid to back in because you're not actually saving time. Now, Howard Richards and others have weighed in and said it's a safety issue.
That's right.
Many
I
people
remember
on
Howard saying that.
many people on the text line have said they're not talking about personal safety like being able to watch who's behind you when you get out of your car, I think, which is what Howard was talking about, our favorite CIA agent.
And that's a legitimate point.
But many people are saying it's much more dangerous in a parking garage to back out when you're pulling out because you can't see people walking, and that's how people get hit. And somebody else saying you obviously don't drive a truck. It's not a good idea to back a truck up out of a parking spot because you have so many blind spots.
I guess.
I mean, in this day and age, I have to say most of us have backup cameras. I don't know how we did it if you drove an SUV or a truck without backup cameras.
But there were a lot of people that agreed with the whole premise of it.
Yes.
I drove a truck for a little while, and maybe I was doing it wrong. I don't know if I was backing it. I don't know if I was backing it.
Yeah,
maybe I was doing it wrong.
I mean, many people saying in our company we're required to back trucks into spots. It's considered safer. That was how we were trained to do. But we got lots of other good pet peeves as well. People who don't say you're welcome and instead say no problem, like they're cutting me a break. I never thought of that before. Do you find that
it's a
annoying?
big generational thing. I've heard this one before, but
have you?
Yeah, like if you're over a certain age, I guess it means something differently to you, but I just would say it means something differently to the younger people in your life, and it's not actually they're meaning the same thing. It's the same thing. I say no problem all the time.
What do you think on that, Frank?
I'm not positive. I don't know.
You don't have strong feelings about that one way or the other. People who leave their Christmas lights up year round. Pet peeve? Would that be a pet peeve for you guys?
Well, it is for Connor, right?
No, I mean, it's just if you want to leave them up year round, you got to commit to it. It's like just leave them up all year then.
Yeah. Cars that tailgate me. That's, I think, a universal for a lot of people. Everyone at church backs in makes me insane. So I guess you have to pray for patience every time you go in there. Weighing in on whether you can ever wear sneakers or tennis shoes with a suit. Casual black tie-up tennis shoes look cartoon-like, especially in a professional setting on TV. Definitely never acceptable.
I don't know if I go that far, but I bet if we just had a straight question of tennis shoes, real tennis shoes with a suit, I think most people would be against it. But more power to the guys that have got to move around a lot that really need it, like Glenn Zimmerman and Scott Connell.
Okay, this is something that has changed a lot. I'd be interested to hear, since you guys are both in the gender that this affects. I'm ex-military. Back in the day, a man would never dare wear a hat into a restaurant. I don't know what's happened to that. Every time I go into a restaurant, I see men wearing hats.
The hat thing, I don't know. That one feels like a losing battle, or like the battle was lost a long time ago. For taking the hats off inside. I don't know.
I don't have a problem with a guy like going to Olivet Diner with a ball cap on, keeping it on. Maybe not at Paul Mano's, but yeah.
I do. I think there is a difference between nice restaurants and other restaurants, but I think it did used to be that way. And I notice at a fair number of sporting events, they do suggest that you take your hats off for the national anthem.
Oh, for the anthem, for sure. Absolutely, yes.
And then there's always the question that people say, well, that's something that men are supposed to take them off, but are women supposed to take off their hats as well? I always would, I think.
For the national anthem?
Yeah, but do you think that's just for men, or is that should women do that as well?
Should be for everybody, show respect. For the,
But I think it didn't used to be, right? Back when everyone wore hats, right? It was like men removed their hats, I believe, is what we're getting.
Right, because women in the 50s who had a fashion hat on, those were pinned on. You were never going to take off your hat, back from the early days of when this would have been, popular. Frank, I just read The Teacher by Frida McFadden. Great twist at the end. What's the next book of hers you recommend I read?
Well, I can't really yet because I'm just about 15, 20 pages into the new one. Oh, gosh. The Intruder?
And I've read The Crash. I thought that was better than The Maid, which has been made into the movie that you really liked as well. I haven't seen it yet, but I will.
And that movie's almost made $300 million now. Even though I haven't seen one person say that it's good. Even Frank.
The Sydney Sweeney movie?
Yeah, the Sydney.
Yeah.
Like everyone is like, oh, it's bad, but it's made $300 million.
Oh my gosh, the power of Sydney Sweeney.
Did you think it was bad?
I didn't think it was bad. No, I didn't think it was.
Or
great.
at best, it's kind of trashy.
Yeah.
It's kind of
Okay, and this maybe if we were giving out prizes today for the text of the day, Frank has already sent cash out to this one. Frank, you and the Channel 4 sports guy look like you could be brothers. Both gorgeous Italian studs.
Wow.
Gorgeous.
Can we check the number on that?
Yeah.
Did that come from Frank?
Is that 803?
He's already written the number down, so he'll be able to.
I'm calling her later.
I love this one, too. We talked about that idea of the house burping. It's such a weird term for it, but it's the trend on social media where people are opening windows to get some, cross ventilation, at least for 10 minutes a day. Yes, I do Luften, which is the German term for it. Both my grandparents were from Germany, taught this. I love it every single day.
By the way, that Channel 4 sportscaster is Jacob Surasimo, and Tom Stasiak refers to him as Dominic Cusimano because he does look a lot like my son Dom. So he's about the same age.
Yeah, he's good. I've
he does a
seen
very
him.
nice job.
Yeah, I would say across the board, there's some really good sports reporters here in St. Louis. Other pet peeves: people dropping F-bombs. Somebody else on the other side.
Dropping F-bombs?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I mean, some people can cuss and it's kind of cool, but most people can't.
I think it needs to be well timed for people to just throw it in there. Or around kids, I'm really uncomfortable if I'm in a public setting. We were down in Florida and we had a relative of my future son-in-law. He's only 3 years old, and he was playing, and there was this table of guys, and they were it was such every other word and at the top of their lungs. And I thought, when you had a kid right by you, maybe.
And especially at a game, yeah.
That's good. When you pull your car over, a couple of more pet peeves. When you pull your car over and let another car go by and they don't wave, thanks. I agree. It's a nice thing to do to give somebody just a...
You're expecting the thank you.
You want to be acknowledged for your
okay.
generosity.
I think it's just, it's not a pet peeve of mine, but I think it's the right thing to do.
Right.
If somebody does that, I always raise my hand. Of course, I grew up in the kind of place where it was very rude if you didn't at least lift one hand off the steering wheel every time you passed another car, because chances were good you were going to know the person in the other car.
How about this? Do you ever, if you have run into somebody with the same car, kind of wave to that person? Have you ever had that?
No, but I had somebody who had the same color car as me, and I was staring at it. And on the highway today, I thought, hey, that looks pretty good.
It's a nice looking car.
It's a nice looking
Yeah,
car.
you have great taste.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. One more final thought before we take a break. Somebody asked me, does it really matter if you're wearing a ball cap in a casual restaurant? I don't do it at a nicer restaurant, but I think that's an old-timey thing to say you shouldn't wear it at a casual restaurant.
No, I think you can get away.
Probably, for sure. Old-timey things, a lot of times are things that we get tired of, but also they can mean long-term and good integrity, being in the business for a long time. And I would say 40 years of helping St. Louisans keep their basements dry. That's something that over time we're going to say it's a good thing they've been doing this for a long time because they're so darn good at it. And of course, we're talking about our friends at Woods Basement Systems. There aren't many other companies doing anything as well as Woods has for 40 years, doing anything with as excellent a customer service record as Woods has for 40 years, or even managing to stay in business for nearly 40 years, let alone thriving, growing, and serving more St. Louisans than ever. All things that Woods Basement Systems continues to do consistently because they care, because they love quality, because they're always challenging themselves to take on new problems that St. Louisans have with their houses and being able to be the best place to solve that problem. They started out only with basements and foundations. Now it's everything from gutters to also driveway leveling to half-wall restorations in your basement if you have had water damage. There's so many things that they're here to help you with. All you have to do is check them out at woodsbasementsystems.com, 618-708-4055.
This is Mariah, third generation at Newsteaders Fine Jewelry. Buying an engagement ring can be intimidating. At Newsteaders, we ensure complete understanding of your purchase. We offer a choice in both lab and mine-grown diamonds and are able to work with any budget. Let our family help educate you on your choice at Big Ben and Doherty Ferry or at wowdiamonds.com.
For all of your travel needs, you go to the best travel agency in the world. Granted, I'm a little biased. Altair Travel and Cruises. They'll take you wherever you want to go in style. They'll handle all the details. You handle all the fun. Don't go to the Googles. Don't make that mistake. It all starts at Altair Travel and Cruises on Brentwood Boulevard, 314-968-9600. Anywhere you want to go, let Altair Travel take you. AltairTravel.com.
Snapshot from Progressive wasn't created for just anybody. Oh no, we made it for you. Smooth accelerators. When that light turns green, you're off. Like a warm knife through firm butter. Going from 0 to the speed limit in an appropriate amount of time. Sure, your car has horsepower, but your horses prance around as silky smooth as your right foot. Fancy Prancerton. With Snapshot, safe drivers like you get personalized rates based on your driving habits. Sign up today at Progressive.com. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Snapshot not available in California or from all agents.
When you pay for tree work, you want to be sure you're getting the most for your hard-earned money. That's why you should always use the ISA-certified arborist at River City Tree Service in Baldwin, Missouri. Hi, I'm Steve with River City Tree Service, and we've been the go-to tree service since 2008. Tree removal, tree trimming, storm damage, deadwood removal, stump grinding, and more. Give River City Tree Service a call for all your tree service needs at 314-270-8071. That's 314-270-8071. River City Tree Service.
Staples presents That Was Easy.
So I'm opening a second location for my coffee shop this year?
I smell trouble brewing.
I needed to print new menus, loyalty cards, window signage, so I went to Staples.
That'll cost you a latte. Get it?
Uh-huh. Actually, I saved $100 on my print order, and everything looks amazing.
Well, grind my beans and call me impressed.
Staples made it easy.
If your business needs to print, let's go Staples.
That was easy.
Offer valid in-store and online. Ends 1/31. Exclusions apply. Visit staples.com/print for details.
The St. Louis Symphony Orchestra brings the sweet nostalgia and soul-shattering passion of Tchaikovsky's Fourth Symphony to life this January. This energetic program also features performer Wu Wei playing a stunning concerto on the shong, a mouth organ, and one of the oldest known Chinese instruments. Don't miss this unique program, January 24th and 25th at Powell Hall at the Jack C. Taylor Music Center. Tickets at slso.org.
All right, welcome back. This is the Frank and Jill Show on the Big 550 KTRS. Bill McDermott, Mr. Soccer, texting in. Wearing white tennis shoes with a Brioni is never, never okay. Brionis, by the way, go from $4,000 to $10,000 with their suits.
Good to know. What's coming up on the press box tonight?
So the St. Louis Sports Hall of Fame about to induct a new class. We're going to be joined by a guy I think may be the greatest high school coach of all time here, Dan Rolfus, who's already won 14 state championships and had a 141 game winning streak. He'll be one of our guests, and a former great Cardinal pitcher, Todd Worrell, also going into Hall of Fame. He was one of the best of his generation. And Andy Strickland talking about the Blues. Hopefully it's not a sinking ship. We'll find out more from Strick, who's a part of the FanDuel Sports Network.
How soon before your colleague, mentee, Corey, heads off to start covering the Olympics?
I think he's here. He leaves next Saturday.
Is that going to change your life drastically?
No.
You'll be doing everything
we got
here?
a new gentleman in, and who's doing a terrific job.
Hitting the ground running. Yeah, we had him on the air here last week. He's hitting the ground running for you, huh?
Yes, he's doing a terrific job. Anytime he gets there earlier than me, I'm impressed, and he's done it a few times.
Ah, that is impressive because you are there at the crack of noon most days as well. Well, do you think you'll be able to shift? This is one of the things that happens a lot when I'm working with physician clients. The conditions will change where they finally get the support they need, but they have a hard time winding their nervous system down from being used to overfunctioning. So it's hard for them to sort of make that adjustment and let somebody else step in to do that role. Assess yourself on that front.
I'm more than willing to try and learn. Yes. So no, I'm going to delegate more. That's what I got to get better at, and he's a good guy to delegate to, Zach Barnes. So, but we'll miss Corey for 3 weeks, and then we'll get him back. Then we'll have a full crew once again. So, all right, that'll do it for this edition of the program. Coming up next, the Carney Show with Julie Buck. We will take a break, and we'll be back in 22 hours.